This is a Lenovo ThinkPad T420s. It's S because it has an SSD in it. And that SSD is actually stored somewhere right here in this slot. If you take this cover, take the screw out, take this cover off, it has like an SSD pull tab you can pull and take the drive out of there. And it's actually too thin in there to put a normal hard drive in it. I tried putting the hard drive from that machine into this one, didn't work. It's too thick. It's because it's like a 7.5 or a 9mm hard drive or something like that, or SSD. And here's the battery, of course. You can take it out like this, take it out like this, or not. I just suck at that, so I'm not going to be able to do that. This is a 44 watt-hour battery, I believe. Here we can see the rating, maybe. But, oh, it also has a docking port, which is weird. So I'm just going to list off the specs of this machine, and some of them are quite interesting. Like, what, is that a USB 3 port, even though it doesn't have the SS next to it? What is that, a lightning port? Well, that's not far from the truth. So that's standard gigabit Ethernet. That's the power plug. This, I believe, is USB 3.0. That is actually a USB port with extra power built into it, so you can like charge things, and I think it also will charge things even if the machine is asleep, and this one will not do that. Or normal USB ports aren't supposed to do that. This is a DVI port, display port. This is VGA, which is weirdly cut into the thing. That's weird. This is an exhaust. No, wait. That might be an intake, and that's the exhaust. Also have a USB 2.0 port, a headphone. I think that's actually a headset jack. You can kind of see the microphone on the headset icon there. There's the drive, I've mentioned. On this side, we have the DVD RW drive. I think it is. Multi-recorder. It's definitely CD-RW, but it might just be DVD-R and CD-RW. So, yeah. But if I open this up, you can see that, well, this is a machine in pretty decent condition, all things considered. This is an Xbox Microsoft property, so probably shouldn't have this. I believe that's a fingerprint reader. Yeah. What's also weird about this computer is it has a track point, which I hate. Anyone should hate those damn things. Some people don't, though. Some people love them, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's because this thing has a hideously awful trackpad. Like, this thing actually has traction on your finger. And that's not good when you're trying to slide your finger across it. That's really stupid, actually. But what's weird is this computer has, well, buttons for the trackpad, left and right, and also buttons for the track point, left and right, and a middle click. How weird is that? It's a really tiny trackpad. This machine is pretty diminutive, actually. Runs Windows 7. I believe this is a 14-inch machine. Something like that. And the display is actually one of the best parts of it. This is a 1600 by 900 display. And the refresh rate, you might think it's 60 hertz, maybe 75. No, this is a 120 hertz refresh rate, 900p display, in a 14-inch machine from 2011. That's right, this machine's from 2011, and it has a 120 hertz display. So, well, the hell are you gonna drive that with? Well, we'll come back to that. This machine also has an okay webcam. I believe this is a 720p webcam, but it might be a 480p one. It also has a little tiny microphone. Maybe that's an LED. I don't know. It also has speakers, which sound pretty trash, but they probably sounded just like everything else at the time, maybe better. There's a Think Vantage button, which is weird. I don't like this weird plastic strip. It feels very chewy, and I just don't like it. And the power button bends in a weird way. Oops, I forgot this machine is charged. Well, I guess we're turning it on. So yeah. The fans don't seem to do a very good job of cooling this machine, however. This machine only has a dual-core i5. Actually, it might be an i7, but I think it's an i5 second-gen CPU. I guess we'll see, because this is going to boot pretty quickly because it has an SSD, which is somewhere. There we go. Just sign in here. Yes, that's my name. Shut up. It's not running in 120 hertz mode right now, I don't think, because the drivers aren't installed correctly. I can only find the drivers that I could find, and well, I did not find the correct ones. I want to turn the brightness down, but I guess I'm not going to be able to do that because it requires 2 hands. So what are the specs of this machine? Well, let's go down to the task manager, and I'm just going to have to turn the ISO down on my camera. There we go. This has a Core i7 2640M CPU, and well, this running running okay. It's definitely boosting right now, as we can see. Its base speed is 2.8 gigahertz. Newsflash: no CPU that has a base speed and a turbo speed is ever going to not run at its turbo speed unless it's being limited by some other factor, or unless you told it to. This machine also has 8 gigs of RAM, which is 1333 megahertz, of course. It has a 250 gig SSD, which is Samsung 830 series SSD. But here's a weird thing. This machine actually has dual GPUs, but one of them isn't working, which is the Intel Graphics 3000, which sucks anyway. But if I had that working, this display would be running at the full 120 hertz refresh rate. But because I don't, and they don't work, well, it's running on its discrete graphics, which is the NVIDIA NVS 4200M GPU. And yes, these are actual discrete graphics, ones that have discrete GPU memory, and I believe this is GDDR5, but I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure it's GDDR5 VRAM. But it also has, well, shared memory as well, 4 gigs of shared GPU memory, but it does have the 1 gig of discrete, which means that the CPU doesn't have to, you know, compete with it, which that's pretty cool. The battery life on this machine is not very good, though. Well, it is, you know, a decade and a half old almost. No, it is literally a decade and a half old, so, you know, 15 years of, you know, the battery existing has probably done a number on it. But yeah, so there you go. Runs Minecraft badly. Runs old Minecraft goodly. That's all the testing I've done on this thing, pretty much. So, yeah. Also, the NVIDIA NVS 4200M. There was a 5400M, I believe, in later ThinkPads, which is slightly better. But otherwise, it sucks. And its only redeeming quality in this machine is that it has discrete GPU memory, and it's better than the shitty Intel HD Graphics 3000. Thanks for watching.